Hi guys, you hear nice and clear down the back? Very good, thank you. Well, thanks everyone for coming. It was pretty short notice when Charlie sent a tweet saying, what are you up to on Monday, when I was flying home from Sydney back to Tasmania on Friday night. I thought, oh, back to Sydney on Monday then. So, yeah, thanks for coming, Charlie.
Thanks for having me. I actually didn't expect to do this. I was going to just crash a Bitcoin meetup when I was here. But unfortunately, there wasn't any Bitcoin meetup like these few days that I was here. So I just decided to do initially a small kind of get together. And then I decided I didn't want to really exclude anyone. So because I don't come out to this side of the world at all. This is my first time here. So it would be pretty bad if I came here and didn't give people a chance to meet me while I was here. So I decided to just open it up and invite everyone. Yeah, I told my wife that she can come join us if she wanted to, and she told me that I'm quite boring. I don't know, she didn't know why anyone would want to meet me. So I'm going to take a picture of you guys to prove to her that people actually want to meet me. So bear with me. Yeah, wave. I can't even fit it into one picture. So.
Everyone say Litecoin Cash.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Australia is a great country. I went on the bridge climb yesterday. Who's actually been on the bridge climb? Yeah, it's pretty spectacular. And tonight I'm going to the opera to check out the opera house. I hear it's pretty cool. Let's see. Should we start?
Yeah. So Charlie, I've got a few questions that I want to ask you, and then we'll do some Q&A at the end, guys. So a bit about your history, mate. You started from MIT and then onto Google, and then how did it all sort of lead to Litecoin?
Yeah, I was playing around with Bitcoin, the code base in early 2011, and then there were a few like a dozen altcoins back then. I decided to create one that was better than the rest of them. It was mostly a fun side project. I mean, it wasn't that hard to create an altcoin. I guess the hardest part back then was to actually create the Genesis block, because no one's really, other than Satoshi, very few people have actually done that. So it's not really, there's no instruction on how to do that. Today it's actually quite easy. You can just go to your website, click a few buttons, and it will get generated for you. But back then it was actually hard to kind of figure out how to do it.
Yeah. So Litecoin, as you said, was made to sort of complement Bitcoin. There's a lot of those coins in the early days that were just copycats and didn't really have any unique functions. How does Litecoin start off to complement Bitcoin, and do you think that's changed now? Is Bitcoin becoming more of a store of value and Litecoin the currency?
Yeah, I always saw Litecoin as, I came up with the phrase silver to Bitcoin's gold, kind of as a complement how silver and gold worked as currency way back when. I see the same thing where Litecoin would complement Bitcoin, where Bitcoin would be more as a store of value or payments for large items, and for cheaper things, Litecoin would work better. We're starting to see that happening. Yeah, and that's the whole purpose of it, I guess.
And we spoke a little bit over lunch about how it did start off as not a joke, but you never really thought it could maybe get this big. And what point was it for you that you thought, hey, this is a game changer, this could become, one of the currencies on the internet that changes the future?
Yeah, when I created Litecoin, Bitcoin's market cap was about $30 million, if I remember correctly. It was either 30 or 300. It was something pretty small compared to today. When Litecoin got to that market cap, well, I guess it was 30. We took that market cap. I was like, wow. I created something that is bigger than what Bitcoin was when I first found out about Bitcoin. So I was pretty impressed. When it hit $1 billion market cap, I was like, wow, this is crazy. And now it's like $10 billion. Yeah, I totally didn't expect it to kind of blow up this big. And now I'm dedicating my life on it, working full time on it.
And that's when you sort of stepped away from Coinbase to really focus on it full time?
Yeah, so when I joined Coinbase in 2013, Litecoin was pretty small back then. I decided to work full time on Bitcoin, right, on Coinbase, to make Bitcoin easy to use, because I figured that that's the first step, right? You have to make Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general easy to use for the average person. And Coinbase was tremendously successful. And then a couple years ago, I decided to work full-time go back to work on Litecoin, because I saw opportunity for Litecoin to do something that can help Bitcoin get over the scaling debate, which was to activate SegWit. So I did that, and been working on that ever since.
Yeah. Just out of interest, raise your hand if Coinbase was your first sort of buying crypto avenue. So yeah, maybe a bit under half. Yeah. So was last year, do you think, the biggest year for Litecoin? As you said, SegWit transactions now represent nearly 100% of the network. We had the first test Lightning transaction. Is that biggest year for you?
I guess last year was the biggest year for everyone in this room, right?
Yeah.
So the answer is yes. In terms of just both the price growth and the adoption growth, and just people having heard about Litecoin, I think we're still pretty early. Still a lot of work to be done, but yeah, we're doing well.
So that leads us to where we are now, 2018, and you tweeted at the start of the year that we'd have a merchant processor, a popular online wallet, a goods trading platform, and one huge unexpected surprise. And before we maybe talk a little bit about those, you sold off your Litecoin, and again, we spoke a little bit beforehand about you can never please everyone in this space. Some people said, it's like a CEO selling all their shares. You didn't want to have that conflict of interest. We also spoke about maybe it would be nice to be anonymous like Satoshi, and there's pros and cons of being the leader of such a large coin. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So the difference between the CEO of a company versus me is, how should I say? So I purchased and mined all my Litecoins, just like everyone in this room. I didn't pre-mine or create Litecoins out of thin air. So it's kind of just my decision, my investment in Litecoin, whether or not when I want to sell it. So it's really not anyone's business that I can or cannot sell my Litecoins. And the reason why I did it is because last year, you guys all know, my Twitter followers went from 30,000 to 700, whatever, 30,000 today. It's grown quite a bit. I've become quite influential in this space, and a lot of my tweets are affecting the price of Litecoin. And after tweeting out something, I always wonder to myself, am I doing this to kind of pump the price to make myself more rich, or am I doing this for the best of Litecoin? And it's hard for people to understand, but there's some conflict of interest there, where I could tweet about stuff that helps the price, but it's not good for the long term of Litecoin. So I decided to screw it. I'm gonna sell all my Litecoins. I actually left a little bit for spending purposes, so I can still buy stuff using Litecoin. But basically, I'm not invested in the coin anymore, and that way, what I'm working full time is I just want the best for Litecoin and not have to worry about price, not worry about pumping the price, not worry about what I say affecting the price or affecting my finances. That said, I actually care more about price today than last year, because I actually do care about people being upset that I sold my coins at a high. I would love if Litecoin price goes back to higher than when I sold it, and when I sold my last batch of it. And I follow price much more closely now than before. So unfortunately, it's not helping in terms of distraction, because I'm a lot more distracted by price today, sadly.
So we'll go back to that list of the 4 things that you tweeted. So we got that merchant processor. Obviously, it's a vision of yours to have Litecoin as one of those means of payment to complement Bitcoin. As far as the popular online wallet and goods trading platform, we can't expect you to disclose those. But what would you like to see Litecoin doing in the next 6 months or 12 months? I assume those things are still on the roadmap for 2018. So what would you love Litecoin to be doing by the end of 2018 if we have all those things to take it that next step forward?
Yeah, so my view of the success of Litecoin. So initially, the reason why Litecoin used script mining is because we wanted Litecoin to be mined by the average person, right? Anybody with a PC can turn on Litecoin miner and mine some Litecoins. So that was the initial kind of motivation. And the reason why that's important is for a coin to really be successful, it needs to have people it needs to have grassroots support. So you need to have people pushing others to use it, why it's so cool to use it. So initially those people were miners, right? You mine some coins, you have some coins, and now you're kind of evangelizing for Litecoin. So that was important in the beginning. And as you know, it became GPU mine and then ASIC mine. So these days, like a normal average person, it would be hard for them to mine Litecoin. So the next step for kind of the success of Litecoin would be is liquidity, right? To have Litecoin traded on pretty much every single exchange, so you can get in and out of Litecoin from fiat. And I think we've been really successful with that. With Litecoin being like one of the few coins that really broke into like the Chinese market, where it's on every single Chinese exchange. It's pretty much on every single exchange that trade Bitcoin today. There's a few that aren't trading Litecoin yet. So in that sense, Litecoin is really very liquid, which is important for the next step, which is merchant adoption and people actually using it as a currency. Right today, I would say like over 90% of people aren't using Litecoin. They are just invested or speculating in the price of Litecoin, which is fine, which helps Litecoin grow. But we need to move from that stage to where merchants are accepting Litecoin and people are actually using Litecoin for payments or for any other reasons. People are actually transferring value over the Litecoin network, and that's kind of the key step that we need to achieve in moving forward this year and forward.
Yeah. The Zap wallet that's working on the Lightning Network for Bitcoin, would you love Litecoin to be integrated in that? That paves the way for those atomic swaps, decentralized exchanges. You also tweeted about reducing those fees by a factor of anywhere from 10 to 100 to really making it a frictionless payment system. As we saw, Bitcoin's fees crept up. They've since died down a bit, but again, we're not ready for hundreds of millions of people to be using one cryptocurrency. There's going to be others that complement each other. So do you want to talk about that and the miners signaling and fees and how low they could be on Litecoin?
Yeah, I think second layer solutions like Lightning Network is very important for scaling both Bitcoin and Litecoin. And Litecoin is actually lucky to be kind of a little bit behind Bitcoin, whereas Bitcoin ran into the 1 megabyte block size constraint before the second layer solutions are ready. Luckily, I think for Litecoin, the second layer solutions will be ready before Litecoin hits its block size limit, which will happen if it becomes popular. And I don't believe you can scale on-chain indefinitely, and second layer solutions are really important. So I see it's great because you can also do like atomic swaps between Bitcoin and Litecoin and any other currency that's on the Lightning Network. So I see that happening in the future. And the reason why that's important is I think in the future when people are using cryptocurrency for payments, they don't really have to understand what's happening behind the scenes. Just like how you're swiping credit cards today, you don't know which banks or what is being contacted for approval and what happens when it's settled. You just pay and you get your merchandise. Same thing for Litecoin, Bitcoin, and cryptocurrency payments in the future, where you can be sending value over the network and you don't know if it's on chain, if it's Lightning Network, if it's atomic swap through Litecoin, or if it's some other thing we haven't even thought of today.
Yeah.
And that's what excites me.
So I guess we've probably started to talk about my next question, the flappening. So for those that don't know, the flippening was a saying about whether or not Ethereum was going to surpass Bitcoin in market cap. And Charlie's coined the term the flappening, where he believes Litecoin will surpass Bitcoin Cash. So you're a big believer that we just touched on, that simply increasing the block size is not enough. We need a mix of those second layer solutions. You believe that's what's the key to success and mass adoption?
Yeah, I mean, exactly right. Bitcoin Cash's strategy is just to increase the block size. I think yes, that could work, but it's going to lead to more centralization. So what's like the reason why Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general is so exciting for me is because it's the first time you have a decentralized currency. And decentralization is a means to the end. The end goal is for a currency that is censorship resistant and immutable, right? So you can send money to anyone, anywhere in the world, and nobody, no company or government can block that, and nobody can reverse it. And so decentralization in the security of the network gives you that, right? And with Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Cash solution of just increasing the block size forever, indefinitely, it doesn't scale that way. It just doesn't work. In the end, if you keep doing that, the blockchain will be so unmanageable that it will be only a few central nodes that are running it. And then by that point, it's too late. Some government can come in and just shut those nodes down or just force them to do stuff to the network, and you can't, as a normal person, you can't do anything about it. It becomes controlled. I don't know when that will happen, but it's just not a direction that I want to see cryptocurrency go towards. So that's why I'm so excited about Lightning Network in a way to scale without having to just increase the block size forever.
And do you think Satoshi, well, do you think he's still alive? But do you think that's what he may not have foreseen, the fact that not everyone was running these nodes on their laptops anymore, and that he definitely didn't foresee mining being centralized in China to a large degree?
I don't know if he's alive or not. I think Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has changed quite a bit over these many years. I'm not sure. I don't think even he could have envisioned what's going on. Like, I think initially he was thinking everybody is running a node that would be mining. I mean, the whole paper was about everybody running their own node mining. It's decentralized. And pretty soon after that, we switched to like pool mining, and then GPU mining and ASIC mining, and then people aren't running their own nodes, aren't mining. So the concept has changed a bit, where in order to be decentralized, you have to run your own node. You may not need to mine, but you need to run your own node so you're in control of what Bitcoin or Litecoin is, and no one can. If you don't, then you have to trust a third party, and if everybody starts trusting a similar small set of third party, then it becomes more centralized. So yeah, so things have changed. I honestly don't know what he would think about the situation today.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the scarcity alone? I think a lot of people that are getting into crypto now are excited by a number of factors or ICOs, but the fact that we had a trustless, decentralized currency and that there was a limited supply is what a lot of people, that initial movement was about, that trustless system. And I think it's one of the most sort of understated issues, that a lot of Bitcoins have been lost. We hear about these hard drives that are in tips, and every year as it goes on, more and more people are forgetting their passwords or passing away, a number of factors, and we only ever have that set number of Bitcoins. Do you think that that's something that's maybe not discussed a lot?
Can you rephrase your question?
Do you think that the circulating supply is said to be 17 million Bitcoin? Do you actually think there could be a higher percentage that are lost and gone forever?
I mean, there might be there probably is a lot of coins that are lost and gone forever. But that just makes every coin out there worth more money. Yeah. And I think it's great to have a coin that has limited supply. I'm unclear whether or not that can be. I think it's good. It will be a good currency where the supply is controlled. It's fixed. Everyone knows. Unlike fiat currency, where the government can print as much as they want. We'll see if the world is ready for that.
I guess just finally, where would you love to see Litecoin in 5 or 10 years? And I think you touched on it already. Is it to the point where it's being used in our everyday lives, and a lot of people aren't even realizing that they're using Litecoin running in the background of apps and websites?
Yeah, I mean, it would be ideal if people don't even know that they're using Litecoin. I think I don't know how long that will take. In the short term, I'd like to see just merchants everywhere accepting Litecoin as payment. This is definitely our current goal right now, which is to pay with Litecoin. I like to see that happen everywhere in the world. Like I was just talking to like
Caleb, so yeah, I
Yeah.
was just going to touch on, I'm not sure if Charlie was aware before he came to Australia, but there's a couple of websites. So Living Room of Satoshi will let you pay any bill in Australia with 11 different cryptocurrencies, and Travel by Bit are rolling out merchant processing with, again, about 11 different cryptocurrencies. So I think Australia's really leading the way.
Yeah, it's definitely. I was surprised to see so much kind of merchant adoption already in Australia. To be honest, I didn't know pretty much anything about Australia before I got here. I tweeted that I'm in Australia, and everyone's asked me where in Australia. I'm like, there's multiple cities in Australia. Just kidding. But I didn't realize like people were so into crypto in all these other cities that that I had to actually travel there because I just planned to come to Sydney and thought this is the place to be, right? But yeah, it's pretty exciting that cryptocurrency is so thriving in Australia, and there's so many places where you can actually spend Litecoin and Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. I like to see that grow and have more places accepting cryptocurrency. The value of it's hard for cryptocurrency to compete with credit card payments, because credit card payments are so easy. You swipe the card, it's done, and then you get charged later, and then you also get like cash back sometimes. The reason why there's value in using cryptocurrency payment is because you don't have to give away your identity. There's no fraud risk, so you're in control of your money. And for the merchant, they don't have to keep track of your credit card. They don't have the risk of losing your credit card information. They don't have to pay like 4% to Visa or MasterCard. So I see that for cryptocurrency to be really successful, merchants have to actually give a discount when they're accepting cryptocurrency payments, because they don't have to pay Visa, MasterCard for the merchant, right? So when that happens, then it will incentivize people to actually use their cryptocurrency, because they get it's cheaper to spend cryptocurrency payments. So I like to see that happen in the future, where there's actually a discount for using cryptocurrency.
All right, well, thanks, Charlie. It's been an absolute pleasure, and happy to take some questions from the audience, and James is going to whip around with a microphone. So.
Just a quick one. Can you give us your thoughts on decentralized exchanges, and also I guess the time frames when you think they'll be readily available for us all to use?
I don't know about time frame. I mean, there's quite a few teams working on decentralized exchanges. I think I'm excited about decentralized exchanges, but to a degree, because so the nice thing about decentralized exchanges is you don't have to trust a third party with your coins. So no one can get hacked and causing you to lose money. So that's great, but with decentralization comes inefficiency. Right? Most people don't even think about that, right? With decentralized, it's kind of by definition, it will definitely be more inefficient than a centralized system or centralized server doing the exchange. So it might be slower, it might be harder to get money, to get coins into the exchange, harder to do order books. I haven't seen a decentralized exchange solution that is really that easy to use, that compelling. But I'm glad there are multiple teams working on it, so we'll see what they come up with.
Just any thoughts or predictions on where the whole crypto space is going to be in the next 3 to 5 years?
Can you be more specific?
Just any thoughts on what's going to happen? Is there going to be, are people going to be, is it getting more, I guess, more mainstream than it is? I mean, are people going to be using crypto to replace cash? Is there going to be one coin that wins out, or is there going to be just competing coins? Yeah, I don't know if there's any kind of prediction.
Yeah, so I think in terms of like price, I think we'll see like a few more like bubbles and bursts. Like it will go up a lot, it will drop a lot. It's going to be very volatile for a while, for the foreseeable future, because people don't know how, like what the future of cryptocurrency is, right? And one day, people will think it might replace the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency. The next day, big exchange gets hacked. People will think that it's not really usable. So, but I think it's kind of, I'm very optimistic about cryptocurrency replacing fiat, for example, for where people will actually use it for money, because it really is a better form of money than anything else out there. So I think it's just a matter of time before it becomes mainstream.
Do you think it'll just be one
Yeah,
cryptocurrency?
I think there will be a handful of cryptocurrencies that will actually be used for value transfer as money. Which of those currency it will be, I don't know. I'm working on Litecoin, obviously. I hope that Litecoin will be one of those currency. And I think Bitcoin will always be the king of cryptocurrency.
Hi, you've sold all your Litecoin. Are there any other coins that you hold or believe in?
Let's see. So, yeah, I've held right now some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, some Monero, some Decred, and some Nano. I mean, I still have a little bit of Litecoin, but I've mostly, like, I'm not invested in Litecoin.
You were talking about mass adoption, but don't you think that to get mass adoption from the merchant side, the volatility should go down? Because if a merchant gets a payment in Litecoin and tomorrow it lost 15%, for him it's better to get Visa card and for 4%, right?
Yeah. So, well, like merchant processors, like TravelByBit or all these other merchant processors, they will convert to fiat for you where there's no risk for the merchant. But you're right. For kind of in the future, if Bitcoin, Litecoin were to succeed as currency, it needs to be less volatile, and I think that's going to happen. Like volatility will become less and less. It will become less and less volatile as time goes on, and I do believe that fiat currency will hyperinflate, like eventually, so cryptocurrency will become much more stable. And is this like 1 year, 5 years, or 50 years? I don't know, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, and those Australian merchants will let you go all 100% to fiat, or some people want to, hedge half and keep half in Bitcoin. So there's a number of options for those Australian merchants.
Some people argue the Lightning Network may make cryptocurrency more centralized. And what's your take on it? Whether that's work against the anti-censorship goal that you believe in?
I mean, I don't think it will be more centralized because you can still, if there is like a central Lightning hub that's doing a lot of transactions, and you can not route through them if you don't want to, right? If they go down, you can always route around them. So there's very low barriers of entry for anyone to spin up a Lightning Network node, and they get paid. They can charge a fee for people routing through them. So I don't think it will be more centralized. I mean, topologically, it might be more centralized where there's kind of hubs that do a lot of Lightning Network transactions. But if the goal is so that payments cannot be blocked or reversed, then that's not going to affect that goal, right?
Just a question.
Just a question about the Mt. Gox. So, in investment point of view, do you really concern about the big sell-off of 160,000 BTC? They say they're going to sell off within the next few months. So, as an investor, are you really concerned about that, or is it going to bring down the market, or is that okay for the next few months and it's just over? What's your view on that one? And the next one is you said that you're going to release the huge unexpected surprise. So can we say a little bit? Or what do you mean by that? You know, or when it's going to happen? Thanks.
So about the Mt. Gox coins, I don't think it's going to affect the market too much. I think it's just the fear of people of them selling off the coins causing people to sell. So the fear of it causes more harm than actually them selling the coins. And in the end, it's just a small blip in history where a lot of coins got sold. So if the price is depressed for a little bit, it's not really going to affect the long-term success of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, there's been similar situations where people were scared about the FBI selling off large chunks of Bitcoin and that sort of thing. So we've seen this before, and if you look at the 24-hour trading volumes, when Bitcoin's having a big day, it can easily absorb that sort of selling pressure. So.
Yeah.
Second part of the question.
Second part, the unexpected surprise. I can't tell you, otherwise it will be unexpected. And people should just it's not a big deal. Yeah, don't expect it to make the price go up. So don't buy Litecoin because of this unexpected surprise. It's probably going to disappoint you.
Charlie, institutional investors, I think we really need them on board if we're going to get anywhere with crypto and increasing market cap and also mainstream adoption. What's your take on getting them involved?
I think it's a good thing where recently the futures market started trading Bitcoin. This will provide more liquidity. I think it's good, and eventually we'll have like an ETF for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. I think it's good for the market to have more people involved and invest in this. It's hard to classify Bitcoin, but I think to me it's like a new asset class, right? It's like gold being an asset class. Bitcoin cryptocurrency is a separate asset class, and I think it's good for institutional investors, for more people to get in and invest in this new asset class.
We know you're working harder than ever on Litecoin now. Can you run us through what a typical day is like?
Sure. First of all, thanks for dressing up to see me. Typical day. I wake up and I tweet, and I keep tweeting until I sleep. No, but I'm working with a lot of people. I meet with a lot of people, just trying to help with Litecoin adoption, getting more merchants and merchant processors interested in supporting Litecoin. I don't do much coding, but I do code reviews and stuff, just helping the Litecoin project in all aspects kind of move forward. And kind of the goal is adoption, for people to pay with Litecoin. So I do whatever, everywhere I can to help that succeed.
Just a quick one on availability. One of the frustrations I've found, and many people in the room might also, last year the Visa and MasterCard cancelled all the debit card ease of, I suppose, transactions, using transactions with these merchants on a day-to-day basis. How do you see that being solved, and is it likely to something soon on the horizon to allow us as the general public to be able to utilise crypto on a daily basis?
Yeah, so the Visa MasterCard, like a Visa debit card using crypto, to me that's always been a stepping stone solution to paying and accepting cryptocurrency, because you're still going through the traditional Visa network, where whoever is giving out this Visa card will convert your Litecoin to fiat, and then the merchant still has to pay whatever 4% to Visa, and still going through the Visa network. So it's not really like using cryptocurrency for payments, or you don't get a benefit of cryptocurrency, and you get all the negatives of using Visa. So I was never that excited about Visa debit cards.
So, John, I was talking more about companies like Wirex, where it's actually a debit card rather than a credit card. Sort of.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same thing, right? Debit card and credit card is basically the same thing. I mean, debit card charges less to merchants, but effectively it's the same thing where you still have the fraud issues and the extra fees that Visa charges. So I think we need to look towards more of merchants accepting cryptocurrency directly, where they produce a cryptocurrency address for the user, or a QR code, and the user will be using a wallet to send Litecoin directly from their wallet to the point of sale terminal that's accepting cryptocurrency.
Hi, Charlie. Do you believe that crypto as an industry can fail, and why?
So there are a few threats that could really kill cryptocurrency. One is if let's say all the governments come out to say they're going to ban cryptocurrency because it makes it easy for money laundering or whatnot. If all the countries come out to do this, then it will really hurt cryptocurrency adoption, because it will be illegal for anyone to use it, thinking they can be put to jail. I don't think that's going to happen. As we see, like, a lot of countries are actually friendly towards cryptocurrency. So yes, one country can come out to ban it, but that's not going to really kill it. Second thing that can really kill cryptocurrency is something like quantum computing, which would make it impossible to safely store your coins, because someone can just steal it because they can break your private key. I think there are ways we can make cryptocurrency quantum computing safe. It's kind of like we'll cross that bridge when we get there, when we need to. I don't think it's a problem. And if quantum computing can really break cryptography, then all of world's finance will be in trouble. So I think the last thing we need to worry about is cryptocurrency payments, when nothing can be kept safe. Other than those two things, I don't see cryptocurrency failing. Yeah.
Hi, you gave an example that Bitcoin is like gold and Litecoin is like silver. In your opinion, what would be, say, brass or
I actually haven't thought about that. Dogecoin, maybe?
I just wanted to ask about LightPay, because that hasn't really been talked about, and I know that it started to be something, and then it all got cut down. Can you just talk about that, and behind the scenes, what happened, and why, how, and what the future is for LightPay, and how you're, I guess, associated with it?
Yes.
Like whether you created it or it's
No, I
part
mean,
of your network?
LightPay is a separate company, right? So it's kind of like BitPay related to Bitcoin, right? So a company called LightPay decided to focus on Litecoin payments, and they also wanted to come out with a Litecoin debit card. So I was quite excited about it, and to be honest, I was more excited about the merchant processing part of it than the debit card, for reasons I just explained. But the general populations was really excited about the debit card, and so they're starting to accept working with merchants to accepting Litecoin for merchants payments today. It's already in the process, but their debit card product is delayed indefinitely. I don't know the details, but it's the same reason why, I mean, Visa was very they're very against cryptocurrency, and I think for good reasons, because it's gonna eat their lunch. So it's very risky for them to release a Visa card, or not possible, I guess. I don't know the details, but I'm not surprised. but the market didn't appreciate the fact that they didn't announce it until the last minute. But I can see why. I assume they were working behind the scenes to try to get this deal done, and they just couldn't get it done by the time they were supposed to announce something.
How you going, Charlie? Just a quick question. I saw you got a little bit of backlash last week for talking about XRB or Nano. I wanted to know if you got a chance to talk to any of the devs and what you thought of the technology.
Yeah, I mean, before I bought some Nano and tweeted that, I actually did talk to the developers about it a little bit. I think it's just an interesting project. I think they're trying to do the right thing, which is to create cryptocurrency for payments. They focus on zero fee and fast payments, but I think they're going to have problems with decentralization. It's just, to me, there's no free lunch. There are trade-offs in life. So you can't have a coin that is free, fast, or instant, uncensorable, 100% security, fully decentralized, and just can't be like everything to everyone. So kind of needs to focus on. So they're focusing on having no fees, which is, I think, it's great thing to have for them to focus on. It's just that they may not be as decentralized as Litecoin or Bitcoin, and that could be fine. For smaller payments, like in my mind, like if for smaller payments, something that's centralized, it's not a big deal, because like if I'm paying for coffee and someone decides to block me from paying for coffee, I mean, it's gonna be annoying, but it's not that bad, right? Or if someone reverses my coffee transaction, then Starbucks will have to suck it up and get and be defrauded for like $5. It's not a big end of the world. So we'll see what happens. Whether like I think there's room for more than one cryptocurrency, and I don't see us being in direct competition with Litecoin. I think both can survive and do well.
Hi, Charlie. My name is Caleb from Travel by Bit. We help with we help businesses who want to take payments in cryptocurrency payments. At the moment, we are growing about 10 new merchants every week now who are taking payments in Litecoin. Charlie, my question is, how do you think the community here can help support adoption?
Definitely like talk to your favorite merchant and ask them to accept Litecoin or every other cryptocurrency, and tell them about Travel by Bit or any other merchant processor that accept Litecoin, and spend it, right? You actually have to. I mean, if you're not going to spend it as currency, if it's not really good money for you, then why are you supporting this project, right? Are you supporting just because you think someone else would spend it and the price will go up and you'll make money? If that's the case, then you probably shouldn't be buying this currency, because you don't really believe in the value that it's providing.
Yeah, and we did a video on Travel by Bit last week, and particularly our target audience is those maybe international viewers that are coming to Australia on holiday. You know, to save you getting all those travel cards and different banks, we're going to build up a network of stores and airports where you know you can just pay with Litecoin or Bitcoin. So that's the exact purpose of what we're trying to do in Australia.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Hi, Charlie. Just a quick question around the Litecoin network itself. Does the current infrastructure of Litecoin allow for future development of smart contracts? Yeah, if you could shed some light on that. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin and Litecoin does allow some forms of smart contract. It's not as fully featured as like, for example, Ethereum. But we are working towards doing more with smart contract. And I think to a certain degree, it's good where you can have programmable money. But we'll never get to a point where it's just like Ethereum where you can do anything. I think that has its own issues where it's so easy to do anything that it's easier to write buggy contracts where people can lose a lot of value also.
Hey Charlie, for the developers for us in the room,
and who are interested in contribute to Litecoin. What's your recommendation on how to go about doing that?
Yeah, you should talk to Adrian right here. So Adrian, can you stand up? So Adrian is one of our main Litecoin developers. He's actually living in Australia. So you can actually grab him and have a chat with him in person and see how you can contribute to Litecoin development.
Hi, my name's Hector. I've been using Living Room with Satoshi for quite a while now. I find they're absolutely brilliant. Now, I spend a lot of time in the UK, but I can't find its equivalent in the UK. Do you know if there's one coming on the market?
I don't know if there's one coming to market. Maybe you can talk to Living Room with Satoshi to ask him to expand to the UK.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
I believe they are looking to expand, but as I said, we're very lucky in Australia, and when I make those videos, all the comments are, hey, do we have this in our country? And I think we are leading the way, so it's great to see, so well done to everyone.
Hi, I'm Lynn. I work in cybersecurity, and I was wondering what kind of security threats do you think Litecoin is susceptible to, other than the hypothetical 51% attack, and like obviously exchanges getting hacked?
Can you get more detail? Are you talking about the security of the network itself?
Yeah, exactly. So I know there's like a hypothetical 51% attack where a group of miners can control transactions and block certain transactions, but other than that, how do you think hackers or someone can like attack the network?
So, I mean, Litecoin has survived. Litecoin is very similar to Bitcoin. We survived for like so many years without any major hacks on the protocol and the network. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it won't happen, but I don't see any imminent threat in terms of the protocol or network being hacked. I mean, quantum computing is kind of what's on everyone's mind, where if that happens, it could potentially break private key encryption. And also in terms of like the 51% attack, it's not really that that huge a deal. 51% attack can't steal money from you. It can just reverse transactions or block transactions from happening. So yes, it would be bad, but it's not the end of the world. And I think I'm not afraid of 51% attacks on Litecoin or Bitcoin, because the miners are profit driven, so they're not going to attack the network and hurt themselves, hurt their own profitability.
There's been a number of rumors over the last couple of months around a Facebook Messenger integration with Litecoin. Have these discussions been ongoing or are ongoing? And have you met with like Mark or David? And additionally, do you think something like that integration is required to take this kind of technology mainstream?
I hate to break it to you, but I haven't talked to Facebook about Litecoin integration, and it's a bit too early for that. In my mind, I think eventually, like major companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon would work with cryptocurrency. I think we're talking a few years too early for that. And cryptocurrency is slowly becoming mainstream. Like recently, Robinhood app is going to let you trade cryptocurrency. Square's Cash app is working on cryptocurrency also. I think we'll see more and more of that before we see like the bigger names do it. I think it's a matter of when, not if.
Hi Charlie. One of the problems of adoption is volatility. So how do you see the volatility going in, let's say, in the next 5 years or so? Thank you.
I think it will become less and less volatile as it becomes more mainstream and as more institutional investors come in, and there's more people kind of owning it and trading it. I think it will become less volatile as time goes on. Yeah, and that will help with adoption, with merchant using it also.
Hi Charlie, my name's Lucy. I work for a stablecoin actually called Haven. So it's quite funny you talk about volatility. My question to you, welcome to Sydney by the way, is you tweet a lot, you're a big influencer in this space. What do you think about a lot of all the other, I guess all the noise. How do you cut through all that from an influencer perspective, and how do you keep yourself credible? Because there's a lot of people who have a lot of following, but they're not credible. But how do you keep yourself credible and make sure that you're not lumped in as part of that other group?
I mean, I don't try to keep myself credible. I just be myself, and if people value that, then they follow me. If they don't, then they hate on me. But yeah, I think like a lot of people tweet at me and saying I should shut up and I shouldn't talk about it because whatever. I just tell them, well, then just don't follow me, right? If you don't think I add value, then don't follow me. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess it's like, it's hard to handle social media. So, you say don't follow me, but how do you say it in the sense that, I guess it's just that community feedback. How do you say that?
Yeah, it's social media is tough. I feel like I have a hard time on social media. Yeah, kind of. You have to ignore the haters. I have a hard time ignoring people, and I think used to block people fast and often. Yeah, it's hard to please everyone, and on like Twitter, everybody has the same voice. At least from my perspective, where I look at people replying to my posts, there's no like you can like the post and make the tweet more popular, I guess. But if I look at every tweet, it's just whenever I say something, a certain percentage of my followers will be upset for one reason or not or another. So I guess the idea is to just don't try to please everyone.
Last couple of questions. Thanks, guys.
Hi, Charlie. You've mentioned a number of times now about the incentive for miners, I guess, essentially to do the right thing. I guess I'm just wondering if you think the 21 million Bitcoin cap is a hard cap, or whether as we continue to halve in terms of the reward and you eventually get down to zero and if the fees don't pick up and adoption and all that kind of thing, whether there is a chance that there would be consensus to increase that cap.
I think that limit is pretty fixed. I don't see it ever changing. And that's why people are working on something like Lightning Network or just making it so that Bitcoin can scale and the fees can eventually pay for the whole system. Right? The reason why, the reason why Bitcoin works initially in Litecoin is because of the block rewards. So initially there was 50 Bitcoins, 50 Litecoins, and it pays for the decentralization, right? Decentralization is expensive, it's not efficient. So, but as you all understand, as time goes on, mining fees, transaction fees will have to pay for the network. So the fees will go up and block rewards will tend towards zero. I think that system will work. And we'll find out over time. I don't think we'll ever need to raise raise the 21 million coin limit for Bitcoin or the 84 million coin limit for Litecoin.
Charlie, in terms of on-chain scaling, do you see Litecoin or Bitcoin in the future will be reducing the block time to maybe 1 minute or 15 seconds to make it more faster or more scalable?
No, I don't think the block times will need to change. Doesn't really affect scaling that much. But I think it'll be fine leaving it as is.
Hey Charlie, Nugget, thanks for bringing him out here today, and thank you for making this amazing so we can all ask you questions. Two things I want to ask you. One, the rumor side of things. We may have you asked about Facebook before. Heard that something might be happening with Amazon. I keep asking Alexa and she goes, I don't know what you're talking about. And the other thing I want to know is what do you think of regulation? Good thing or a bad thing? Do we need more of it? What kind of regulation?
Sure. The rumor side of thing, I think it's just, people are just creating rumors out of thin air just because to help pump the price of the coin. So those are all rumors. Nothing going on. And like I said, Amazon is one of the big companies. It's not. They eventually will support cryptocurrency in some form or another, but I don't expect that anytime soon. And that's fine. As for your second question, what was your second question again? Regulation, yeah. I think I think regulation overall is good. I'm very concerned about last year's like ICO craze, where everyone's just throwing money at all these ICOs that are promising the world but won't actually deliver. I think people will lose a lot of money from that. I think some kind of regulation to kind of protect people is good in that sense. And I think for Bitcoin and Litecoin to succeed, it needs to work within the regulatory environment. You can't just be kind of just ignore it. So I think it's good.
Yeah, last one. Thanks.
Hey Charlie, so we talked a lot about payments and currencies and how they're better than the kind of mainstream things like Visa. I was wondering what you think about dApps and smart contracts and their future. Like, do we need to tokenize every industry, which is the trend that's coming out, or do you think a lot of those will fail or so on?
I think a lot of those will fail. I think there's too much hype around blockchain and decentralized apps today. When I think about it, I ask myself, like, is there really a need for a decentralized this or that? And the answer most likely is no. It's, for example, like if you look at recently CryptoKitties, right? It's all the craze, they like slowed Ethereum to a crawl. If you ask yourself, do you really need a trading kind of game on a decentralized network where no one can censor a CryptoKitty transaction and no one can reverse it? The answer is no. Like, it doesn't. Things like that don't need the power of decentralization, right? And with decentralization comes inefficiency. So, for example, if Google or Amazon runs a smart contract network, a fully centralized smart contract network where they can stop contracts or reverse contracts, and you have CryptoKitties running on that network, it'll be perfectly fine. Most people trust Google and Amazon enough to do that, right? You don't need the inefficiency. You don't need a fully decentralized network for that. So if you think about it that way, most apps don't need that. Like, money is one of the few killer apps that really needs decentralization. But other than money, like, what else do you need it? There might be a few that need it, but most of what people are working on today is kind of a solution looking for a problem. They're trying to fit blockchain into everything out there, and likely, for me, it's most likely not needed.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Charlie. It's been absolutely fantastic. I'll upload this to YouTube, and we also had a casual chat over lunch with a few different type of questions. I might put that up as well. So thanks for everyone to coming. Like, last minute to get a few hundred people here is amazing. As we spoke about a few times, it's up to us to drive that mass adoption, and word of mouth is that main driver. You know, show your friends how a wallet is, how you can pay bills with cryptocurrency and that sort of thing, guys. So yeah, thanks so much for coming, and Charlie and I will be up the front to answer a few questions for a few minutes as well. So cheers.